What's up, Transformdom? This is Ben here in China, and today we're going to look at the Takara Tomy Transformers masterpiece MP-39 Cybertron Warrior Sunstreaker. And right from the front of the box, you can see Sunstreaker. My ulcer is killing me. Right from the front of the box, you can see Sunstreaker is posed like he was in the original Transformers G1 toy box. That's pretty cool. So let's take a look at the box, shall we? From the top, from one side, the other side, the bottom, and at the back. You can see the bio of Sunstreaker in Japanese. Sunstreaker with his gimmicks and accessories, the specs for the car, some of the possibility of the vehicle, alternate faces, alternate car modes, with his cartoon brother Sideswipe, and the contents of the box. What I'm a bit disappointed about this final release is that in the pre-production photographs, Sunstreaker had the option to have a yellow spoiler for the base model Lamborghini Countach, but for the final release we only got the option of chrome spoilers. A bit of a boo on, a bit of a disappointment. So without further ado, let's crack this guy open. As with all masterpieces, you got the instruction manual, bio card, spare side mirrors, product survey in Japanese for the Japanese market. And here we have the toy. Wow, I'm pretty excited to crack this guy open. You got your alien mask for the Hoist Goes to Hollywood episode. You got his blaster, his pistol, alternate faces, chip, and his wheelchair. So let's open this guy up. Feel a little heavier than Sideswipe. So here we have the accessories that can be used for Sunstreaker in the alt mode. First, you have the flare gun that you can insert to the top of the vehicle. There's a port in here. Boom, there you go. Next, you have the electron pulse gun that you can also insert to the same port. Next, you have the electron pulse gun, which you can store it into the vehicle in the super tuning mode. All you gotta do is open up these panels like this and then just dump it in. I just found it easier just to dump it in. And then make sure you can close it. There you go. See? Close up the rear this section and close the doors down. And everything should fit nice and tight. There you go. So let's take a closer look at the vehicle. Here it is from the top, looking quite remarkable. There is a couple of scratches right out from the box here and here, and a bit there. That's just the nature of the beast when you're handling chrome pieces. That's why it's not my preferred choice. Here it is from the side, the front, the right side, the back, and the bottom. What I like about this car is that it has a lot of playability. For example, you got the front section, which you can open up the headlights. All you gotta do is press this button down there, these buttons, and the headlights will come out. Wow, this looks like a Lamborghini you would see bringing out hot girls to a nightclub. It also has a hood that you can open up to store your wine or roses. I don't think you'll fit a golf bag in there, but there you go. It also has a door that you can open up. All you gotta do is pull this a little bit and press it out and move it out of the way. But if you've done this enough times, the joints will definitely have loosened up, and all you gotta do is just press it outwards. There you go. Doors are on a hinge, so you can move it a little bit. The rear of the vehicle is in the cartoon accurate mode. So to make it more realistic, all you gotta do is flip out this rear sections outwards. You may be really tight at first, and then you just swing it downwards until you hear a click. And the lights should line up. And then you push in the rear section like that. Push it in. And the rear section should line up. And he looks marvelous. Let's compare that to the MP-12 Sideswipe, Super Tuning mode, Stock mode. The MP-39 Sunstreaker's windows here has some added details that is comparable to the anime accurate Sideswipe, which I don't have on me right now. And the lack of details is also apparent. For example, the lack of the Lamborghini logo in the front. And also the Lamborghini Countach labels at the back of the vehicle is also not visible. It's molded there, you can see that, but it's just not painted black for it to be visible. And I do love that it has realistic exhaust, unlike original MP-12 Sideswipe we got there. And I also love that the rear lights lines up perfectly, unlike the original Sideswipe. There's also an option to convert Sunstreaker from the Super Tuning Lamborghini Countach mode into the stock Sunstreaker in the stock mode with the original MP-12 Sideswipe. And from the get-go, you can see that there's a lack of details in the rear section of MP-39, but you can see the details here in MP-12. There are some molded detailings here on the A intakes that is quite a nice addition to this mode. Compared to the MP-12 mode, you don't see any visible detailing. It's all dark and black, so it's really hard to see. But there's no detailings here on the A intakes. Everything looks pretty darn close to the original. Lack of details on the front, and that's expected because of the approach, the new approach that Takara is taking. There's a little bit of details at the bottom here, and there's a bit of a painted details side here. I think there is a difference in the location of the side door intakes. As you can see, the intakes here is a little lower than what's originally on the MP-12. You can see the distance between here and here. You can see the distance between the bottom to here and the bottom to here. So here are the two cars from the front, from the side, from the rear, from the other side, from the top, and from the bottom. Let's do some quick comps. Here we have Sunstreaker with Sideswipe, Prowl, Ironhide, Huffer, Windcharger. I give up, I'm not even going to try to transform Batcube's Sunsurge into the out mode, Starscream, and Optimus Prime. Sunstreaker rolls extremely well, look at that, solid. And here we have Sunstreaker fitted nicely into the trailer of Optimus Prime. So let's get Sunstreaker transformed to the bot mode. So here you have Sunstreaker laid out with all his accessories out here. First you have the Electron Pulse Gun, which he holds very nicely. You can also fold the handle of the gun just by squeezing it like that. And then you can open up his inner calves to reveal a slot, which you can take the gun, and you can see on top of the gun there is a peg. You can peg it onto the slot, then you can fold the gun away. There you go. There's also a flare gun that he holds on to quite nicely. I do think that it's a little large, but I think this is more toy accurate, which I still don't get why Takara is still hanging on to that little tiny bit of toy aesthetic. On one side of the flare gun you can see there is a peg, and at the back of the figure there is a slot which you can store the gun like this. You also have the alien mask, which fits nicely onto Sunstreaker. You also have alternate face sculpts that you can change on Sunstreaker just by lifting up the head, exposing the chin, and pulling out. There you go. And you can put a new face onto. There you go. Yay! So here's Sunstreaker with his alternate faces: stoic face, screaming face, and smiling face. You also have Chip on a wheelchair. Chip is wearing glasses, and it's done quite nicely for a very small figure. Paint is acceptable, not the best, right? Sprue marks some places, but it's a neat little figure that in that one episode called The Core, where Sunstreaker started to respect Chip as another sentient being. So here's Sunstreaker compared to the cartoon animation that I captured from the first episodes of the G1 cartoon, and you can see that the sculpting on the face is quite accurate. The face here is a lot smoother compared to the cartoon, but from cartoon to cartoon the face is slightly different, but you maintain that earpiece that is quite distinct of Sunstreaker. The shoulder pads that points up is quite accurate. Design here is not as accurate, but the contours here are. The lines on the forearms is almost accurate. The crotch area is very accurate. The chest area is quite accurate with the big Autobot logo. This black piece up here is visible in some cartoon shows and not in this one. The lines here for the thighs is quite accurate. The calves is extremely accurate. Feet are also quite cartoon accurate, especially with the fold-away tires. When comparing the proportion between Sunstreaker and Batcube Sunsurge to the animation model, you can see the difference between the three. In my opinion, I feel like the proportions of the feet of Sunsurge is big to big. Now, Batcube is always famous for giving us these duck feet for most of their toys. Crotch area for Sunsurge is a little too small, and then I think the shoulder blades area for Sunsurge is way too big, making the whole figure look bloatedly horizontal. I do want to point out one part that Sunsurge designed better than the official Sunstreaker compared to this cartoon animation model is the little detail over there. But other than that, most of the details on Sunsurge is overly detailed compared to the modern era's masterpiece approach. Now, taking a closer look at the figure is painted, I think, painted almost all over the place except maybe these black parts with this molded in this gunmetalish black, very nicely looking. I do want to point out that right from the box I got a little scratch here in the shin portion, and that I think may be the deal breaker for me, because this mark is pretty glaring, and I don't know, maybe I'll pick up a second piece and try my luck when I go to Hong Kong. Anyway, paint is done almost everywhere throughout the figure. I feel there's a little bit of a die cast in this thigh area using my Cold Touch technology, and so it adds a little bit of heft into the toy, which we have not seen in any of the smaller car bots. So does this justify the hike in prices? Increased paint apps, a little bit of die cast to give stability to the figure, and the amount of part counts to improve the articulation of the figure. I think quite possibly this really does justify the price increase. I mean, look at the amount of insane articulation that we got. We got the articulation around the head, move up, move down. You got this really cool skirt pieces. Normally, for other Masterpiece toys, you get this skirt flip, and that's kind of cool, but that's is old school now compared to what we got here. This skirt piece can rotate like that when you move the hips. That is amazing, and you can even move it without the hips, and so that can help you improve posability. And another articulation point that is very new that I've never seen is knee tilt. Oh, look at that, knee tilt, knee tilt. That is amazing. So these are the two new parts of articulation that I can see on this toy that is not even on my checklist. And the ease of transformation on this toy is so quite remarkable. I could transform this guy without any problem, without any instructions. Yes, there are a couple of steps where I had to second guess, but it is not as bad as Sunstreaker. When I transformed him from that hunk of a mess to the bot mode, I had a lot of trouble with the shoulder blade areas and the backpack. The transformation of the arms was quite easy. All you gotta do is flip all the way up and boom, you got the body section all transformed and nice. Another thing I like about this toy is that I kind of like the way they molded the hands now for this new masterpieces. It looks more humanoid like. There's now a little pin here which you can move the thumb. It's still like that kind of articulation that I desire, but I think it's an improvement to make it more natural like. Another thing I want to point out is, look at that, the articulation in the palm. Wow, I think this is the first time I've seen it on any Masterpiece figures, especially official ones. So you can have him like, stop! In the name of love. I also like how they filled up these ab area, where if you want to stand him straight, he looks quite good and filled, and if you want to improve his articulation and get some ab crunches, you can do so by lifting up this piece, lifting up the chest area just a little bit, get your ab crunch out of the way, and then you can flap everything closed, and boom, you got your ab crunch. That's quite amazing. But you still get this little flat piece here that is unavoidable. Doot, discharge. Doot, doot, discharge. Doot. Now let's make some comparisons between Sunstreaker and the unofficial ARC crew that I got. Starting with X-Transbot's Wind Charger, Bad Cube's Brawn, Gears, Huffer, MMC's Mirage, and Market Toys Jazz. Now let's compare Sunstreaker with the official ARC crew. Here is Bumblebee, his brother Sideswipe, Prowl, Blue Streak, Ratchet, Ironhide, and finally the purposefully mistransformed, we really need a new version, Optimus Prime. Now let's look at the amazing articulation of Sunstreaker from my checklist. So there you go, here you have Sunstreaker laid out in all his glorious, shiny, immaculate self with a bit of flaws. So what are my thoughts on this guy? Let's go through 3 things I like about this guy and 3 things that I think that could have been improved. The first thing I like about this car is that it has playability even in the alt mode. Headlights that open, hoods that open, doors that open. That is pretty darn good. The rear section can transform from the super tuning mode to the stock mode. The second thing I like about this guy is the insane amount of articulation. It's phenomenal. You can even do this cross-legged, almost zen-like Buddha pose. That's pretty amazing in my book. SH Figuarts or Figma level of articulation that I have never seen before. It blows everything that I perceived in the masterpiece away. I mean, take a look at this. Sunstreaker can do a proper Iron Man 3-point landing action pose. That's phenomenal. I've never seen this level of ease in doing this pose. The third thing I like about this guy is the overall build quality of this toy. I think Takara has come quite a long way in terms of out-competing the third-party companies out there. First of all, I feel like there is a bit of a weight heft. The plastic quality is always pretty good, top-notch, and the paint apps is really good as it has really improved. In areas where there's painted and unpainted parts, it blends pretty well. That said, my 3 things that I think that could have been improved is that there is still some paint chipping going on when I transformed this guy and when I was doing this review. Take a look, these are all the little paint chips and plastic pieces. I don't know what this big little glassy piece is. That came out from this toy when I was reviewing him. So that means there is a little bit of a small adjustment of the tolerances when transforming this figure. The second thing that I think that could have been improved on this figure is this backpack area. While in some cases you can turn the waist, there are times when the hood of the vehicle or the butt flap will scratch onto this chrome piece right here. And they could have just maybe, I don't know, this piece here doesn't seem, at least on my copy, doesn't seem to want to clip in properly. And so there's a little gap there, which, you know, makes the space needed for the waist rotation to be a little more hindered. The third thing that I don't like about this toy is the choice that they used for the super tuning air intake and spoilers. If they were going for a cartoon accurate appearance, then maybe they should have used a different paint app, maybe something of an off-whitish kind of paint that mimics metallic or chrome, because in the real world these chrome pieces on a real car it will look real ugly. Trust me, it will just look ugly. For a toy model, they're trying to please some of the toy collectors out there. So would I recommend this figure? Absolutely. The pros that we have in this figure: build quality, the articulation, the paint apps, the smart gimmicks to improve that articulation, the G1 likeness, the cartoon accuracy, the proportions, all outweighs the negatives that we have in this fellow. For example, the minor paint flaking, the choice of using chrome, which results in excessive reported scratching right out of the box. The price point on this figure depends on where you're from. It can range from about $75 to $120. So there's no real complaints about this being too pricey, especially if you're watching this from America. If you buy it from an American retailer, that's the price you're gonna pay, $120. But if you are willing to buy this figure from direct from Japan or direct from Hong Kong, the price gets to be about $80, $85, maybe $90, depending on where you buy it from. So there you go. Those are my final thoughts about Sunstreaker. What are your thoughts? Please leave them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share. And also please sub and bell onto my channel. This is Ben here again in China, signing off, and I'll see you on the flip side.